Can you believe it? I'm moving to Los Angeles. Come with me as I tour 12 apartments in downtown LA to find my next home. After getting hit with a 9% rent increase, I've spent the last few weeks deep in apartment hunting mode, and I can finally share this video because I've officially signed my new lease. So what was in my checklist? I was primarily looking for a studio or 1-bedroom with a real floor plan, not just a box, that's over 500 square feet. Modern amenities like AC, heating, in-unit laundry, elevators, etc. A walkable neighborhood with grocery stores and restaurants nearby, preferably a couple of things to do. 24/7 front desk for safety, hardwood flooring, responsive maintenance, and a view worth waking up to. Not just seeing my neighbors awkwardly through their windows like I have for the past year and a half. So I started the day looking at 825 South Hill. This property is in a great location. It's very walkable, there's grocery stores. This particular unit had no concessions being offered, and I feel like the 1-bedrooms were extremely small for the price. Parking is also an additional $250 a month. So this is a 1-bedroom at 825 South Hill. This is on the 45th floor. The view is pretty insane. She said it's south facing, which would be great. Let's check out the bedroom. Pretty small bedroom. Generous closet though. Lots of room. Let's go back out and see the bathroom. Really nice bathroom. Interesting sink. And yeah. Second door to the bed. Oh, that's the washer and dryer. The amenities looked fine, but I just feel like maybe in that small space I might feel a bit cooped up. For the price, you should get a lot more. I will say though, I do like the location of 825 South Hill. It's in a really nice area. I feel like the grocery store is right around the corner, banks, kind of daily life things that you could need. And I know the library is a quick walk too. So we are going to be primarily looking in that area. But overall, you know, it was a really nice property, but I just think within my price point, the 1-bedrooms are on the higher end of my budget and they are a bit small as well. I'm gonna go ahead to Hope and Flower, which is 4 minutes away, and I have 1 minute to get there. The location was definitely not as nice as some of the other locations I was looking at. Okay, so right now I'm at Hope and Flower. This is the A2 studio layout. You do have like a bed alcove. It feels more spacious than 825 South Hill, but we'll see how it goes. It is still a pretty small living room if, you know, compared to what I have now for a couch, TV, and my desk. This one's an east-facing view, which, you know, is a little bright for me since I do work from home a lot. I don't really like direct sun right in the morning, but yeah, it is a cute unit. So Hope and Flower, it's in a little bit less like of a nice area. It's a little bit south of where you want to be, you know, adding more to your walk times, like to get groceries, etc. I did notice that these units were a bit more generously priced. Again, no concessions at this space. Interestingly, so Hope and Flower is made up of 2 different towers that are connected with a bridge, so you have access to the amenities at both, which is nice, you know, in case one is like a little bit crowded or reserved or something. Some had nice views, but you are close to the train tracks on one side, so he did say like if you're on the east side of the apartment building, it's a bit noisy, which wouldn't work for me. I also noticed out of this view that there were like burned down buildings nearby, you know, just a little bit of like a rougher neighborhood, and they might have to do construction soon because of those buildings that did burn. Next up, I don't know if I'm going to give this one away because I actually might end up living here, but in this building, I really loved it. They have some good deals going on, 4 weeks free on all their apartments, and if you're on the lower floors, it's 2 months free. They have really great studios, but it's super small. I would be really happy getting a studio at 888, but I think the square footage under 500 square feet is pretty small. Currently my studio is 590 square feet. So just thinking of my furniture and things, it's a lot harder to downsize. I was more interested in their 1-bedrooms. We're all a great size to me. Anyway, I really like this place, so I'm hoping that I can find something that works within my moving date. So I'm moving in early June, and I know I'm out here looking a bit earlier. It's the end of March right now, but there was one unit in particular that I had my eye on, so I'm hoping that it will stay available just for the next couple weeks, and then I can reserve it. So some of the units you do have to be careful because Their view is just straight up parking garage. So absolutely no light will come in, you have no good view. At 888, all of their amenities were very nice. I loved their rooftop view, although it would definitely scare anyone afraid of heights. The only cons that I could see were that the residents had a lot of dogs, but they do have a private park on the 8th floor to help balance that out a little bit. The gym machines were also separated into different rooms, which was a little bit interesting, and sometimes we had to wait a long time for the elevator, even while just trying to tour a couple of units. Next, I checked out Kurve. It's located in a nearby neighborhood, Koreatown, and right away I could tell that parking was going to be an issue. Cars filled the streets and parking was super expensive. Their lobby was nice until I noticed packages piled up like an IKEA warehouse. That was 2 red flags already, and I hadn't even stepped foot into an apartment yet. The model studio was fine, but I do strongly prefer to have 2 separate windows so the room feels less like a cave. They were offering up to 8 weeks free on select the lower units, but the deals would change depending on the lease length, so I listed the original rent prices here. However, the prices were pretty decent, and I think the main trade-off is that limited parking availability outside. Closets were generous though, and all of the units had hardwood floors. Everything seemed modern. I just wasn't feeling the vibe after a poor first impression. The second 1-bedroom I saw was the same layout, but it had higher ceilings, so it surprisingly made a really big difference, but then it just makes me think I should get a bunk bed or something to utilize the space more efficiently. Then I checked out an upgraded studio with a really spectacular view. It does unfortunately come with a bigger price tag though, and I think it's unreasonable to have studio pricing around $2,800. Besides the floor-to-ceiling windows, everything else pretty much felt the same to me. The amenities were alright. They did have a small outdoor space with almost no shade. It was a pretty standard gym and pool for this area, and I just kept thinking about the mountain of packages in the lobby, and I already knew I wasn't going to move forward with this complex, so we wrapped up the tour pretty quickly. Lastly, I peeked into the Grand by Gehry for a quick tour. They did have a very interesting studio layout though, but all of their kitchen appliances were so small, it was more like a kitchenette. But I was already not a fan of the location, so I honestly didn't film that much. But this one did have a ridiculously huge closet, so you know, pros and cons. Also, at all of these LA DTLA apartment complexes, you do have to pay additional money for parking each month. So I'm gonna look at another place tomorrow and we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned as I continue this apartment series. I'll be covering a few more apartment tours, my upcoming move, and doing a full apartment tour after I settle in Los Angeles. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.